Panuco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today we're going to look at China and India and how they're scouring the planet for minerals, and in particular silver, but also gold. But before we move forward, I just wanted to let you know that further along this video, we're going to look at what is, in my opinion, probably the #1 silver stock opportunity going forward. And I don't think you want to miss out on that. And especially with what's going on geopolitically with the Trump administration potentially imposing a lot of tariffs and maybe even sanctions on other countries. Yeah, JP Morgan is actually forecasting silver. Yes, JP Morgan, of all institutions, is forecasting for silver to hit $38 an ounce in 2025. But before we go further into that, let's talk a little bit about silver and gold and China and India and what's going on. So, the other day I spoke about my gold and silver scorecard for 2024. And I don't have to tell you, or maybe I do if you don't follow gold and silver and you happen to be watching. I don't have to tell you that gold and silver did really well, the bullion in 2024. But there was a bit of an anomaly, of course, with the miners. But anyway, for example, in Japanese yen, gold was up almost 42%. Silver was up almost 35%. Of course, against the dollar, gold was up 27% and silver 21.5%. And usually in a precious metals bull market, and I definitely think we are in one, silver tends to outperform, and then the miners also do really well, and that's not happening. But as I said, China and India, that's the big story here, in my opinion, and nothing's going to change in 2025, mainly because of the geopolitical tensions that we already talked about. So recently, Jan Neuenhaus, an analyst in the gold space, talked about how China's been secretly snapping up more gold and positioning itself for a greater global role. And this is actually from investing.com. Jan Neuenhaus's piece came out like in November, but it looks like investing.com, Goldman Sachs, they're all twigging on to this fact that the PBOC is buying gold on the sly. And earlier in the year, we've also seen reports or articles, this one by VBL on Zero Hedge, of how China is actually buying unrefined silver from Latin American mining companies directly from the source, and they're paying more for unrefined silver than they're paying than the price of refined silver. And I think this is very telling, and we know that China's been buying a lot of silver this year, and there's a big silver deficit. But we also saw that India bought a lot of silver last year. Even back in August, Reuters was reporting India's silver imports to double on demand for solar investments. So I don't think any of that is going to stop, as I said earlier. So you might be wondering now, what is this opportunity in the silver mining space? Well, it's Vizsla Silver Corporation. I like to thank them for sponsoring this video and choosing my channel. So Vizsla Silver Corp is a Canadian mineral exploration and development company focusing on advancing its flagship Panuco silver gold project in Sinaloa, Mexico. And the company aims to become a major silver producer through the development of Panuco, which is recognized as one of the highest grade undeveloped silver projects on the planet. So here's a company that also has 9 analysts with buy ratings and price targets ranging from $3 to $4.50. And right now, as I speak, the stock is trading around $1.80. So Vizsla Silver also has some heavyweight backing. For example, Franklin Templeton, Sprott Inc., and also billionaire investor Eric Sprott. They own about 20% of the company. So very good indication of the attractiveness of this project. So let's look at the people or the management of the company. That's always very important. For example, the CEO, Michael Connert, has 15 plus years experience in corporate strategy, team leadership, and mining capital markets. One of the directors, for example, Eduardo Luna, director of Kerr Mining, and he's a former president of the Mexican Mining Chamber and Silver Institute, and a former director of Wheaton Precious Metals. So now we're going to look at why Vizsla's flagship asset, Panuco, is such a standout. Well, number one, annual production for new silver primary assets average around 9.3 million ounces of silver, while Vizsla's Panuco is expected to average 15.2 million ounces, and in year 1 and 2 it's going to be like 20.2 million ounces. The second point that makes Panuco such a standout is to do with the all-in sustaining cost of production. Just to give you an example, the average peer of the Panuco property or asset, their all-in cost of production is $17.56. Well, Panuco's all-in sustaining cost of production is only $9.40, and that's based on a recent preliminary economic assessment. Of course, nothing is certain, but compared to $17.56, I'd say that's a pretty big advantage. Well, the third important point about Panuco's standout status is a significant re-rating potential or closing of the valuation gap. So the company has a target to commence silver production in 2027. Panuco is set to become one of the world's top 10 silver producing mines. The company, though, intends to make a production decision following release of a positive feasibility study. So Panuco is very close to becoming a producer by 2027. And of course, that's if everything goes according to plan, closing the gap between current price to net asset value of an explorer developer to the average producer price to net asset value would mean or represent an increase of 164% over the average explorer developer price to net asset value. So a big potential for the repricing or re-rating of Vizsla Silver Corporation. So let's do a recap of Vizsla Silver Corporation before we wrap up. Well, the asset, Panuco asset, is in a world-class district, and Mexico is the biggest silver producer in the world. Second, the silver price is a long way, as we know, from its CPI adjusted all-time high on a month-end basis, as you can see by this chart. And number three, Vizsla boasts endorsements from 9 analysts buy recommendations. The lowest target price is $3 US. The latest price for Vizsla is around $1.80, and that represents a premium of around 67%. So to conclude, in my opinion, and as I've always reiterated, you must do your own research and your due diligence, and it's for you to decide whether you want to look into this. But Vizsla Silver Corp presents a compelling opportunity for investors looking to gain exposure to the silver market. It has a strong management team, high-grade resources, and it stands out as a potential leader in the silver mining sector. Well, that's what the management and the leadership are looking to build, of course. Yes, so the company is listed on the New York Stock Exchange. The ticker symbol is VZLA. And if you want to find out more about the company, there are some links below in the description of this video. And with that, I'm going to wish you all a very good rest of the weekend. Take care. Bye.